Tonight, you will climb into bed, pull a blanket over your body, close your eyes, and sleep for roughly 8 hours straight. You won't think twice about it. It will feel completely natural. But here's the thing: that 8-hour block of uninterrupted sleep you treat as normal. Your ancestors would have found it deeply, profoundly strange. Sleep is one of the most universal human experiences. Every person on Earth does it. Every culture across history has done it. And yet the way you sleep, the timing, the structure, the expectations is not ancient. It is a product of the modern world. It was manufactured, and understanding that changes everything about how you think, about your own exhausted, restless, broken nights. Let's go back, way back, before electric light, before alarm clocks, before mattresses sold in warehouses the size of football fields. Your ancestors slept twice. Historians and sleep researchers have known about this for decades, but it took a historian named Roger Ekirch to document it properly. In his 2001 research, later expanded into his book At Day's Close, Ekirch pulled together over 500 years of historical records, diaries, court documents, medical texts, prayer, books from across Europe and beyond. What he found buried in those pages was a sleep pattern that had been hiding in plain sight. People did not sleep in one long stretch. They slept into distinct phases, separated by an hour or two of wakefulness in the middle of the night. They called the first phase first sleep. They called the second phase second sleep, and the time in between had a name too. They simply called it the watch. During the watch, people didn't lie in bed panicking about not being asleep. They got up, they prayed, they talked to their partners, they had sex, they smoked pipes, checked on animals, visited neighbors, interpreted their dreams while they were still fresh. It was a quiet, intimate hour that belonged only to the dark. Then they went back to sleep until morning. This wasn't unusual behavior. This was just sleep. This is what sleep looked like for most of human history. Psychiatrist Thomas Wehr confirmed this wasn't just a social habit, it was biological. In a landmark study in the 1990s, Wehr took a group of volunteers and removed artificial light from their lives for a month. He let them experience darkness for 14 hours a night, mimicking pre-industrial conditions. Within weeks, without being told to do anything, every single participant began sleeping into distinct blocks. Their bodies bifurcated sleep on their own. Between the two blocks, they would lie awake in a state of calm, almost meditative quiet, a state Wehr described as having elevated prolactin levels, the same hormone released during nursing. A deeply peaceful, almost trance-like wakefulness that most modern humans never experience. Their bodies already knew how to do this. They just needed the darkness to remember. So what happened? Why did this ancient rhythm vanish? The answer is artificial light, and the shift happened faster than you might think. The proliferation of street lighting across European cities in the 17th and 18th centuries began pushing social life later into the night. Coffee houses, theaters, and social gatherings stretched well past sunset by the time industrialization arrived and workers were expected at factories at fixed early hours. The architecture of the night had already been rewritten. Two sleeps became one. First sleep and second sleep collapsed into a single long block, and the watch, that strange waking hour between them, disappeared from language and from memory. By the late 19th century, references to first sleep and second sleep had vanished almost entirely from written records. The concept didn't survive the electric light bulb. Within a generation, people forgot it had ever existed. Now here's where this gets personal, because right now millions of people wake up in the middle of the night, lie there for an hour, and believe something is wrong with them. They call it insomnia. They take pills for it. They scroll their phones until their eyes burn. They catastrophize. Their heart rate climbs because their brain has learned that waking at 2 a.m. means something is broken. But what if nothing is broken? What if that wakefulness is your body doing exactly what it was built to do in an environment that no longer has room for it? Psychologist Gregg, who has studied insomnia extensively at Harvard Medical School, has argued that the framing of middle-of-the-night waking as a disorder is itself a modern invention. The expectation of consolidated sleep is the problem, not the biology. Your body may simply be trying to enter the watch, reaching for an ancient pause in the dark and finding no cultural structure to hold it, only a glowing phone and the crushing anxiety of a 6 a.m. alarm. But sleep structure isn't the only thing that changed. When you sleep changed too. Go back far enough and your ancestors weren't even sleeping at the hours you consider natural. Anthropologist Jerome Siegel studied 3 modern hunter-gatherer communities, the Hadza in Tanzania, the San in Namibia, and the Simane in Bolivia, communities largely untouched by artificial light. The results, published in 2015. in current biology shattered another assumption. These groups did not go to sleep at sunset. They stayed awake for several hours after dark, letting their core body temperature drop, and they woke not at first light but after sunrise. Their average sleep duration was just over 6.5 hours, far less than the 8 hours modern health campaigns insist you need. They also did not sleep in silence or in isolation. Sleep in these communities was social. You slept near other bodies, near the fire, in a group. You were never fully disconnected from your environment. Your brain stayed lightly alert. Sounds of the night were processed, not blocked. The deep, sealed-off unconsciousness modern sleep tries to deliver was not the ancestral model. Your ancestors also did not have mattresses. For most of human history, sleep happened on the ground, on animal skins, on grass, on woven mats. Your spine evolved to sleep on surfaces that moved and adjusted with your body. The rigid, perfectly flat mattress is extraordinarily recent, and yet it is now marketed as the prerequisite for proper rest, something humans survived without for hundreds of thousands of years. Even the concept of a private bedroom is new. The idea that sleep is a solo or couple activity conducted behind a closed door only emerged as a middle-class aspiration in the 18th century. Before that, everyone slept together: servants, children, travelers, strangers at an inn. In medieval Europe, sharing a bed with someone you had just met was not unusual. The bed was not a symbol of privacy. It was just where sleep happened collectively, in the warm, noisy presence of other bodies. And here is the deepest strangeness of all. Modern sleep science keeps searching for the perfect amount of sleep, the optimal hour count, the ideal environment, the correct darkness, the right temperature, the best mattress firmness. But your ancestors were not optimizing, they were adapting. Sleep bent to the shape of life: 2 seasons, 2 temperatures, 2 threats, 2 community rhythms. In summer, they slept less. In winter, more. Some cultures had afternoon rests. Some slept only once but deeply. The idea that there is one correct way to sleep, one ideal architecture the human body is supposed to follow, is a modern fantasy. The reality is that your biology is ancient and your environment is not. You are running hardware built over millions of years inside a world that was redesigned in the last 2 centuries. The mismatch between those two things shows up at 3 a.m. when you are lying awake in the dark, heart racing, convinced you are failing at something. As simple as sleep, you are not failing. You are ancient. You are reaching for something your body remembers even though the world around you has forgotten it entirely. Tonight, when the sun goes down, you will climb into bed, pull a blanket over your body, close your eyes, and try to sleep straight through until morning. And if you wake in the dark, in that quiet hour between dreams, know that for most of human history, that was not the problem. That was the point.